Today I'm working on this. My mom needed one for a gift, so I'm making it up for her. It's the Clematis Wristlet by Calla. I'll just stick that over there. I think I remember how to do it, but we'll see. My daughter's so sweet. She stopped and got me hot cider. And it's really, really good. Okay, I have my two main lining piece, pocket piece, lining piece, vinyl for the bottom, the wristlet strap, the zipper tabs, the D-ring, my little labels that I put in that says "You look pretty today," and I'm out of Mona Did What tags, so I'm putting in Monty May bags. And I just have a little plain zipper pull. And I believe it's a 3/4 D-ring. Not sure. And there's the other vinyl piece. So I'm going to work on the wristlet strap first. Alright, now I'm going to do my strap. So what I'm going to do is, I cut the strap according to the pattern's instructions. I folded it in half, ironed it, folded it in, ironed it, and then folded it again. So now we're going to unfold just the ends, line those up together, just like that. And see, I left some of the interfacing out of the edge to cut down on the bulk, and we're just going to stitch that across. Don't tell me I twisted this. Yep, I twisted it, so I have to take it apart. Okay, now I've untwisted it. I'm going to sew it again. Okay. Now I'm going to back tack. I'm just going to stitch along here 1/8 of an inch along the open edge. When I get to this swivel snap hook, I'm just going to slide it out of the way. I'm going to use a 3.5 inch stitch length. And if you have trouble top stitching, there's a compensating foot, or you can use a blind hem foot and just line it up and go. Okay, I'm getting near this swivel snap hook, so I'm moving it out of the way. Just gonna keep on going. And I just changed this thread, so I did test it, but not on this. I didn't have any spare. Well, I have spare, but not that I tested. I gotta get those threads out of there. I'll do it after. Just make sure you're lined up. Now I'm back to where I started. I'm going to clip my threads. I'll leave them longer so I can pull them to the wrong side and tie them off. Now I'm just going to go to the other side that I didn't stitch on. It doesn't matter where I start, and I'm going to do the same thing. And typically this side is easier. mind the noise. Somebody's out there doing their leaves, which is typical this time of year. As long as it's not me doing leaves, I'm happy. Okay, now that's done. I'll just clean up my threads. I'm going to clean up my threads. You can either stitch across here and put a rivet or do both. I'm going to do both. And I'll put in a rivet later. But if you don't have a rivet, it's no big deal. Just make sure that snap hook is out of your way. You don't want to break that. Alright. Well, that's done. Okay, now I'm going to work on my D-ring. I folded it in half, ironed it. I pressed both sides into the middle, ironed it, and now I'm just going to fold it and stitch down both sides. Right along the edge. And this is for the D-ring. Now I'm going to put my D-ring through. And line it up, and I'm going to sew right next to that. I should probably do it this way so I can see better. And I usually start up on it unless you have a hump jumper, and then back stitch and then go forward. Okay, now this is all ready. The zipper, which I cut it to the pattern's instructions, which you'll find on the pattern. I'm just melting that so it will be straight, or won't fray. Now I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to put the zipper pull on. And hopefully this one will fit. And I'm going to use my zipper jig. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I have a video of it, so. And I just angle it in and put it on. Okay. So there's my zipper on. Now I'm going to put on my zipper tab. Same thing. I ironed it in half, put it together, ironed it, and then folded it and ironed it. So now what I'm going to do is just stick my zipper in there and clip it on. And then I start clear out here and sew all the way to the edge. And you just keep it straight. And so this is a nylon zipper, so we don't have to worry about it breaking. So we're good to go there. So that's ready. Now I'm going to do the other side. Now I'm just going to sew this other side. And make sure this is in there straight. Keep it straight. Okay, now I'm just going to trim this to the edge of the zipper. Without cutting the zipper. Okay, now the zipper's prepped. Now I'm going to sew my pocket together, right sides together. One side of the pocket has SF101, and I'm just going to sew all the way around and leave a hole for turning on the bottom. So now I'm just going to turn this right side out. You can see better when I have it down here. You don't need to see my ugly mug. Okay. I'm going to roll the seams, give this a good press. I'm going to fold this in and give it a good press, and then I'm going to top stitch along the top. Turn this up to a 3.5 for the top stitch, and I'm just going to go right along the top and top stitch. And I'm going to grab a tag that says "You look pretty today," and insert it into that pocket. Just like that. And I'm going to take a clip and put it on there. Okay, I have the pocket piece here. I'm going to fold it in half. Just finger press, put a crease in. Do the same with the pocket. And it tells you exactly where to put. I just kind of eyeball it right in the middle. I'll put one up here so I know not to sew up there. And one over here. And one over there. Okay. Now, how I like to sew my pockets is I like to start right up here, just about a 1/2 inch, even 1/4 on that edge, come in a little bit, back stitch, and then start going down this side and back stitch again. It leaves a lot neater than the back stitch on and off of the thing, and I found that it's less stress on there, in my opinion. So I'm going to go back stitch, go up, back stitch, and then I'm going to turn and go down this way, you know, 1/8 inch. So I need actually to go one more. Ouch! See, that's why I don't use pins. And then I back stitch, and then I just continue around, sewing right along the edge. Okay, make sure you have everything lined up at the bottom when you're coming through, because you're closing up that pocket also, as well as putting on this tag, but you don't have to put on a tag. I just like to. I like to just give a little bit extra. I find if you go a lot slower around the corners, you'll have less skipped stitches. Now I'm going to do the same thing, come up to this edge, back stitch, come up, turn, back stitch, and then back stitch. And there your pocket's on. Take out your pins, and let me get my pin cushion over here that Yo Patty made. She makes really cute, and you can wear this on your wrist, but I don't like anything on my wrist. But it was so pretty I had to have it. So I got my pins out. So this is the pocket. It's already prepped. I just have to trim my threads, and then I'll move on to the outside next. Okay, now I'm going to take my outside, and I'm going to take my vinyl, and I'm going to give it a crease to find where the center is. Same with this, you can clip it. Let me just do a little clip here and a little clip there so we know where it's at. Alright, now we're going to line it up with that. I'm just going to move it as I go to fit the edge of here. And the same on this side. And then move this clear down here. Okay, so it's all together like this. So now we're just going to stitch all the way across there. I'm going to do a 3 stitch length. I'm going to start right along there on the seam allowance and back stitch, and then just kind of move this up to the edge where it's supposed to be as I'm doing it. Alright, and just kind of squish it. And if it's helpful, you can just draw a line right on the seam allowance so you know where to go. I kind of just eyeball it. Actually, pretty much most of the time, unless it's something that I pretty much go by the edge of my presser foot when I'm sewing. Not this one. If I'm doing a quilt, I have a 1/4 inch one. Okay, I'm going to repeat that on the other side, and I'm going to do that off camera, just make this a little bit shorter. Alright, this is done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, just like this. But we are going to make sure that the seam allowance goes down onto the vinyl. I'm going to turn my stitch length up to a 4.5, and then I'm just going to start on one end and top stitch. Oops. And I need to switch to my vinyl foot. I forgot. I have my vinyl foot on. I'm going to open up the vinyl piece I sewed on. I'm going to press the seam allowance towards the back, or towards the vinyl, and then top stitch on that. I have a, normally when I do vinyl or cork, I use a micro tack, but I have a top stitch needle in, so I don't feel like changing it, so I'm gonna use it. I have a 4.5 inch stitch length for the top stitch. Oh, this is going a lot better with that zipper or vinyl foot on. And I use Schmetz needles. Schmetz, or however you say it. But you can use whatever needle your machine likes. None of my machines like the... And there's the top stitch on there, so I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. Now I'm going to take my main and my zipper and just kind of find the middle of it and put it with the zipper pull closing to the left, or whichever way you want it. And then I am just going to clip this zipper on here around the top edge. So they're going to be right sides together, and I need to open up the zipper so that it's out of my way when I start going. Take it back to 2.5 stitch length. Now I'm going to line up right on top of the zipper tape, back stitch, and then I'm just going to sew right along the edge of the zipper, making sure it's lining up with the top of your thing. You can use a zipper foot if you want. Okay, I'm at that zipper. I'm gonna zipper pull. I'm gonna push it out of the way, zip it out of the way, and go back to stitching. Okay, now that's done. Now I'm going to grab my lining without the pocket and put it on there, right sides together, lining up the sides and the top. I like to put one on the side just to kind of keep it together. Same thing, I'm going to move that zipper out of my way. Some people turn it over so they can see the stitches. I don't. I can feel where they are and where I want to go, so I'm just going to back stitch and keep going. And I'm starting from one end and going clear to the other. And I like more of my zippers showing, so that's why I do it. Now I'm at that zipper pull. I'm going to lift my foot, leave my needle in, move the zipper pull out of the way, make sure everything's lined back up, put your foot down, or your needle down, your foot down, and then sew to the other end, back stitch. All right, now we're going to open that up, push them all together, and you can press this and just make sure that you do not touch your vinyl because it will melt. And I am not going to top stitch at this time. I'm going to do it after I get the other side on. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my zipper pull at the top and line up the sides. And again, I like to clip the sides. And you can kind of put it up to see where to go. But I'm going to flip it over this way so I can see where to put the zipper better. You could use double-sided tape and do this all at the same time. I don't do it that way, but there's many ways to put on a zipper. So, but I'm going to sew but from this side because I can see the fabric better, whereas this side I can't see as good. So I'm going to start up here, so I'm going to need to move that zipper out of my way. Make sure my sides are lined up. Okay, now I'm just going to start right on that zipper and sew down, just like we did before. Of course, back stitch. And then I like to just grab what I'm and pull it up. From underneath, you can kind of see where the fabric is. Give it just a slight tug. You're not going to want to tug on anything big, but just to keep it right along the edge. That went a little wonky there. Okay, we're coming near that zipper again, so I need to go in here and find it. Lift up my zipper pull. Or lift up my presser foot, move that zipper way out of the way, line things back up, put that down, and then just keep going. And then you back stitch on that zipper tab. Okay, so there's that. Get some of these threads out of the way so I don't have a bunch at the end. Now, you're going to take your other zipper panel with your pocket, Make sure your pocket's open at the top, and you're going to place it on top of that. Clip all the way around, or across the top. Make sure your sides are lined up. Okay, now I'm just going to stitch from here all the way down. I need to find out, oh, the zipper pulls at the top, so I need to get that out of the way before I start. Let me find it. So move it way out of the way. Now line these up, and we're going to stitch right along there all the way across. Something is off here. There we go. And you can feel where the zipper is with your hand, your fingers. Okay, I'm just moving the zipper bowl out of the way. Same old, same old. Making sure everything's lined up. And then we're going to stitch all the way off of there and back tag. Okay, we don't need those clips anymore. Now I'm going to top stitch, so I'm going to move it up to a 4. I'm going to pull these together and line them up. And finger press these down. You can iron if you want. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this side, keeping everything out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right at, not at the edge, I'm going to start at the, right next to the zipper pull. And make sure everything's lined up. Let's move this out of the way. And just make sure everything's flat and out of the way because the zipper's curved. And I'm just going to stitch right along that top. And yes, I'm going through both the lining and the top. This is something new I saw. I'm going to try. And then I'm going to stop at the edge of that zipper pull. And then line this one up. Okay, I'm going to go just across that zipper tab to the other side. Turn. Make sure everything's lined up. And then we're going to stitch right along that edge. Let me put that down. Just make sure everything's flat and lined up. I'll let you know how this goes. I think I just went crooked there. Normally, I top stitch a different way, but this is supposed to cut down on the bulk. Okay, let me move that zipper out of the way. And line this up. And we're going to go straight across that zipper pull to where we started, or zipper tab, and back stitch. Our next step, we are going to sew the darts. And all you do is you put them together, right sides together. You can clip if you want and then just sew down the one side. I'm going to have to stop because somebody wants to go to the restroom. Backpack. Well, maybe not. And you're just going to continue doing that all the way around. I'll show you again. You're going to put those together, right sides together. Back tack. And then just sew right off and back stitch. All right. So that's what you have so far. And you're going to do that to all of them. All right, I have all the darts done. I have them done on the outside and the main. Now we just need to put this bag together. We're going to take our lining pieces and we're going to line those up. I like to line up the darts first. You'll need some clips or pins, whatever you want to use. Just don't use pins in your vinyl. And then I like to line up over here to that dart and kind of nest them so it's not bulky. And I used SF101 on the lining because I did not use waterproof canvas. I didn't feel my hands hurt and I didn't feel like cutting it or sewing with it, so I just used regular quilting cotton on the inside and the thing. So now I'm going to go to the other side and line up the vinyl darts. Nest those. All right, now I like to line up the sides. I shove the lining or the zipper into the lining, and then I like to line up right there and do the same on the other side. Right there. Now, I almost forgot we need to put the D-ring in. So I'm going to put it right there. I don't know which side it's going to come out on, but and I like to point it up a little bit. So let's hope it goes up in the right direction. And then just, so I got the D-ring in there. And I'm not sure which side it's going to come up on. I'm not taking them apart to look. And I'm just going to continue clipping all the way around, lining everything up. And I also like to make sure that these bottom seams where the cotton and the vinyl are, that those line up as well. Okay, whoops, I forgot to do over here. Make sure you leave your zipper open so you can turn the bag. And I'm leaving a spot right here for turning the bag. So now I'm just going to start and sew here all the way around to there. and back stitch on both sides. And just make sure you keep everything lined up. And I like to go over those darts again. Now when you get to where your zipper is, make sure just come right next to the zipper pull. Do not go through it. All right, now I'm going to back up. Because I want to make sure it's secure. All right, we're getting to the vinyl. I'm going to back stitch. I do it in the seam allowance. And I'm just going to keep going all the way around. Now when you're getting towards that D-ring, be careful. You don't want that. You don't want to hit that. In fact, I'm going to move it just a little bit in more. All right, now make sure those are lined up. Back stitch a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to sew around the lining. And you can always make your lining a little bit smaller after you line up the top. When I do that, I seem to not be able to line anything up if you find your lining too saggy. Okay, everything's sewn. But I like to make, I don't trim until I know for sure that everything got caught. I'm just going to stick my hand in. I'm going to reach, grab a hold of the bottom, and just pull it right through the lining there. This is the part I don't like, birthing the bag, as they call it. And you're just going to want to poke everything out, check every seam to make sure that it is finished and there's no holes. Now is the time to do it. Broken nail. Hopefully it's not in this bag. That would be horrible. Well, I don't know where my nail went. There's free DNA for you. And then just make sure your vinyl's all done and stitched. Make sure your seams are lined up. See those seams lined up perfectly. They don't always do that, but sometimes. And if you have trouble with your vinyl coming apart, just run another line of stitches in the seam allowance after you sew the regular. Everything looks good. So the last step is to close up the hole in your lining. And you're just going to push it in there, push the seams in like that, and then just stitch across. Just right along the edge. I'm lowering it to a 2.5 because this is cotton. It's not you know, the waterproof canvas that I normally use. I want to get away from using that stuff. Or at least the waterproof. I don't mind the water resistant because it's not as hard on my hands. The only thing with that, some of it frays. So essentially your bag is done. You just got to put your lining in, back in your bag, and poke out everything on the inside to match. Oh, this is so much easier to do when it's cotton. Oh my goodness. And you're going to pop out your, what do you call it? Zipper tabs. It is there, and then you'll just hook your wristlet strap on here. And you don't have to have a wristlet strap, but there it is, all finished. And I use fusible fleece on this outside part, but it seems to be thinner than the last stuff I bought, so I'm gonna have to buy some more. So thanks for watching. Let's hope my mom's friend likes it.